This is the second video in my series where I'm going to force myself to learn how to clean up my old photos. Finally. This is an ancestor of mine, Thomas Jefferson Ingram, who was a farmer in Greene County, Pennsylvania. Some of my photos have been sent from other people in the genealogy space, as I'm the family genealogist. I'm contacted pretty often with a "Do you want a copy of this picture?" question. I have a lot of these in various conditions. This photo looks pretty messy, but it's not as bad as you think, as we can get away with using only one tool, the inpainting brush tool. The first thing I'm going to do is to add a pixel layer. The pixel layer is the layer that we're going to be painting on, and the reason that we do that is if you screw up royally, all you have to do is to get rid of the pixel layer, and that will keep you from going Control Z, Control Z, Control Z until you get back to where you're supposed to be. Okay, now what we want to do is to go over here and select the inpainting brush tool. So in the inpainting brush tool, we're going to get rid of all these spots. This is one of my favorite tools because it's pretty idiot-proof, quite honestly. And what you need to do is, well, let me zoom in on this guy. What you need to do is to make sure that the spots that you're going to remove are encapsulated inside the circle, because what the inpainting brush tool does is it samples pixels from around your spots. So we're going to go over this one, and then we're going to click on that, and it gets rid of it. Then we're going to go over here and click on it, and that gets rid of that, and so on. So we can go around, and this one is really little, so we'll reduce that and click on that one, and make this a little bigger and click on this one, and then on this one, and so on. So we can take spots off of his coat, like this one, and this one, and this one. And up here, we have all this up here. And sometimes what we can do is we can just paint over all of this and get rid of it immediately. Paint over all of this and get rid of it immediately, and so on. Now if it leaves stuff behind, all we have to do is just repaint over it. So as long as we have right outside the red the part that the inpainting brush tool wants to use as a reference, we're fine. Okay, so here we've got this. We can remove all these up here. See if we can get those. Nope. And down here, get rid of that one, this one, and these. And then some of these from his face. And these little dots right here. I'm pretty confident that this isn't a mole, so we're going to zoom in and get rid of that. And these. So as you can see, when you do this, patience is really a virtue, because a lot of these, if they're really messed up, will take you some time to do it. And to avoid boring you to tears by watching me do all this, I am going to check out and come back with my cleaned up, I'll get this one down here, with my cleaned up photo. So we've got these up here, and I'm not checking out yet because I want to go back and let you see what we've done already. So we've got this one and we've got this one. So see, it's looking pretty good already, but it's going to take a little time to get rid of the rest of these, so I will be back. I am back. Now let's take a look at what we have. If I deselect this, you can see what we originally had, and then if I select our pixel layer, this is what we cleaned up. Cleaning this up took me approximately 40 minutes. Now, it shouldn't really take you that long, but I've been watching the football game, so that kind of slowed me down a little bit. But this is what we have. Now, this picture, if you look at it, seems to have a rough grain. At least when I got it, it looked like one of those pictures that was taken during this period of time that had a cardboard backing. And so what you're going to have to decide is how much of that backing that you want to keep and how much of it do you want to fix. Of course, when you zoom in on this, a lot of this is going to look a lot worse than it does here. The big problem is going to be deciding what is shadow and what isn't. This piece right here, I really think a lot of it is shadow, so I didn't try to take it off. Now there was like a blotch over here that really didn't look natural enough to be a shadow, so I went ahead and removed it. And of course there's his hair that's a little bit of an issue, like right here. We probably want to take care of that and get rid of that. Okay, now I have to make a confession. I hate sepia, but this picture was taken in that sepia tone, and that is appropriate for the time period, so I'm not going to try to add a black and white adjustment or anything like that. I'm going to keep it like in a sepia tone. But one thing you can do though, if there are more adjustments that you can make, and I'm going to make them right now. So right here, notice you've got all this stuff that probably isn't part of the background, or maybe it is, and then you have more of a blend here than you do here. What you can do for this, if you have something like that, is to use the paintbrush tool. And with the paintbrush tool, all you really are doing is painting over this. So I'll go over here and I'll select the paintbrush tool, and I want to make sure to have my opacity very, very low, because you don't want it to look like that you're just globbing paint on there, or else it's going to look odd. So I want my opacity to be 34%, and I want everything to match what this is. So in order to do that, I'm going to go up here to my color picker tool and come over here and select this color and then paint over it with my paintbrush tool. And that's going to smooth this out a little bit so it doesn't look like it's got dirt on it. And I don't think this is the coarseness of the photo. I think it's got dirt on it. That's what I think it looks like. So in all your old photos, you have to decide for yourself if it's supposed to look like that or not, and then, you know, go with it. So we're going to take this and select this part right here. So paint over this, and that low opacity is going to make it blend in more so it doesn't look odd. So then you've got it blending in there, and this is really light, so we're going to paint over it here, and so on. And so, whoops, don't want that. Okay, Control Z, get rid of that piece. And then let me see, I always like to keep taking samples because this isn't exactly the same all over. And of course his hair is going to be a bit of a problem because of the color. You can hardly tell where the hair starts and the background, or the background starts and the hair ends, so to speak. So we can paint that and over like that. And let me see, do that. And let's go back to our inpainting brush tool and see if we can't remove some of that and make that a little bit better, like that. Now down here at the bottom, if we zoomed in here, you will find that it's really not perfect. Let me go back to the paintbrush tool again. What color do I have? Okay, we need this. And so we're going to paint over it, blend all that in, and so on. If your opacity was too big, it would look like you're just kind of glopping it on, and we don't want it to look like that. Now let's go down here to his coat. This actually doesn't look too bad, but I'd like it to be a little bit smoother because it's supposed to fade out. So let's just paint over like that, and so we'll take off of that. Let's pick this color down here, so we'll blend that in. I tried using the clone brush tool on this and it just looked weird. I'll show you what I mean. Right here is a clone brush tool, and what you can do is you click on it and then you kind of alt and then sample this right here. But then when you click down, it kind of, even when you paint, it looks really kind of odd to me. I know people that like it, but I try to avoid this tool like the plague. If you like it, please don't avoid it just because I'm doing that. I mean, what do I know? So I'm going to continue painting. And so I'll make sure I've got the right tone and paint over that so that it all blends in. And we have a nice blend without it being too blurry. We don't want that. So, and let's see. So I just keep taking little samples, so we need to make sure that we get this all blended in. And I think I need to sample some of this. See if I can blend this in up here. I don't want to blend it too much because it's obvious that his coat is like kind of a tweed, and tweed isn't smooth. So, and that's where the clone tool really comes in handy, because it will give you the background too, the background coarseness or smoothness or whatever. Okay, let me go over here, take some of this sample, paint it on, and make sure, okay, because this should be fading out to this. And so let's turn down the opacity a hair, and when you adjust the opacity, you're going to end up having to click on the paintbrush tool again. I want to stay away from this because that's supposed to be like that. So get it to where it just all blends in the way you want it. And then once you're done, let me see, I need more opacity here. Smooth some of this off. And then once you're done, take a look at it and see if it's what you like. And then we're going to click off of this and take a look at what it looked like before. So as you can tell, that's kind of a major improvement. We got rid of all that junk. I don't know what it is or anything like that. I know it's not one of those tintype pictures. But anyway, so here's the improved one, and here is the old one. So here is my finished product, at least for now. I always change my mind and I go, well, maybe I can alter this and blah, blah, blah. So to me, Mr. Ingram has never looked better. Well, he probably has, but his picture sure does look better than the old one. Dig up your stack of photos from your box, admit it, you threw them in a box, and try out the inpainting tool. In my opinion, it's the easiest tool to use. And to smooth everything out, take a look at the paintbrush tool. Use the color picker up here, select your color, and make sure that you have your opacity very, very low so that it'll just smooth in. I'm going to post some of these photos on my Buy Me a Coffee webpage. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be notified when my next video drops.